Hello and welcome to Useful Idiots Monday morning edition.
Hey, we got it.
Welcome to Useful Idiots Monday morning edition. Open in YouTube. All right. I have a quick reader's poll. Ready?
Yeah.
Which is better? Which angle? Which eyesight? Looking at this laptop like this. Hi, everyone. This is Useful Idiots. I'm Katie Halper. Or this way. Hi, everyone. This is Useful Idiots. I'm Katie Halper.
Hey.
All right. So it's going to be back on my laptop, not my external monitor. Man, I'm telling you. These improvements never really work in real life. So anyway, this is, you guys get to see how the sausage is made. All right. How's it going?
With me?
Yeah, well, really with anyone.
With anyone. With anyone. I mean, who of us can say?
Who can say? Sorry, that's the pharmacy. Sorry, guys, I'm a little. All right, now my thing is silence. You know what it is? I'm a little.
This show is so high tech. It's amazing.
It's so high tech. Hold on. Now Wilson's asking me about my settings. Hold on. I was asking that before. Let's see. And nope, thank you. It's not the right mic. Okay, here we go. Ready? Things are gonna change.
There we go. There we go.
And then I'm gonna switch. Okay, now we're talking. Oh my God, everything.
Matt does not drink instant decaf. Matt is calf always.
Yeah. You know what I did today? Since we keep talking about food and people seem to like it, I had a breakfast shake. So I had a bananas. It's called a wild bull. I didn't give it that name. The cafe near me does. And what I may do is, what's crazy is that it's a wild bull without caffeine. Then I add caffeine to it, which must make it like an extra wild bull.
Right, like a bucking angry wild bull.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you feel bullish and when wild?
Yeah. Bull's gone wild. Yeah. That's how I feel. Who knows you well? Who knows you enough to call you but not well know you're alive? That's a good question. That person's dead to me.
We would not normally be live at this time, except I have some engagements today that I again inconvenienced everybody else with my shit.
When's the last time you did that?
I don't know. I always do that.
You said no. No, you don't.
So lots of stuff to go over. I guess. This weekend.
Oh, definitely lots of stuff. Yeah.
I guess we should start with this Chuck Todd thing or this Tuck Chod thing.
Tuck Chod, yeah. Let's do it. And by the way, guys, you don't want to miss this show, right? So you know what you got to do? Subscribe. You just hit subscribe, and you hit the bell, and it's relevant right now because we're starting in an earlier time. So for those of us who don't catch us live, I'm sorry. We tweeted this announcement out, and the only way to avoid stuff like this in the future is subscribing.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. All right. Let's check out Tuck Chod and his. Well, let's just watch the exchange.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good one.
And he did the kind of the shake weight jerking off the paper thing today.
Right.
I don't know if it's in this clip, but he definitely.
No, it's not in this clip.
Good Sunday morning.
Oh no, it is in this clip. Sorry, and then we'll get to the really good clip.
I think I have the wrong clip. My bad.
Oh, okay.
I thought you guys wanted that one.
We can. This is a good review, and then we'll get to Skeletor.
So what happened to Democrats on Tuesday goes far beyond the defeat of Terry McAuliffe in Virginia or Governor Phil Murphy's narrow escape in New Jersey. If you look at it from coast to coast, it was a warning to Democrats that their congressional majorities are in grave danger. Terry McAuliffe, running for his old job as governor in Virginia, fell a net 12.5 points off of Mr. Biden's 2020 victory in that state. Even in victory, Governor Phil Murphy's net loss in New Jersey compared to what Biden got in 2020 was roughly 13 points. Kind of familiar. So what happened? Was the standoff between progressives and moderates partly to blame? Probably. Did President Biden misread his mandate? Many Democrats think he did. Was the public's sense that the country was on the wrong track a factor? Clearly.
What's that?
That said, on Friday, Mr. Biden followed up the Democratic drubbing with one of the best days he's had in office.
Is that a word? Tracofactor?
Strong October employment report, with over 500,000 jobs added in a month, best showing since July. And the House passage, finally, of the long-delayed $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, which of course is one of the pillars of the president's agenda. Still, as Democrats pick through the rubble of Tuesday's election, Republicans are partying like it's 2009. Remember that year?
There's just no pretense that this is anything
ended up flipping
but
63
Democratic Party press release. You know?
Right. Can we? It's really fun actually to just watch his hands the entire time. But we should watch this with the sound off. But what is he saying? This guy has a monologue written out for him. He's reading off of a teleprompter, I believe, and he should have memorized it. But what is that term he says? Was it a sense that Democrats were on the wrong track factor?
Let's listen to it again, just quick. Yeah. Just to that part.
Also, it's cool to watch the really pedantic. Was it ABCD?
Oh, was it the sense that the Democrats were on a wrong track of factor?
Oh, okay. Look, can we just hear that again, though? It is hard to. Because now listen to it, imagining it saying track a factor.
Terry McAuliffe, running for his old job as governor in Virginia, fell a net 12.5 points off of Mr. Biden's 2020 victory in that state. Even in victory, Governor Phil Murphy's net loss in New Jersey compared to what Biden got in 2020 was roughly 13 points. Kind of familiar.
Looks like he's doing like.
Was the standoff between progressives and moderates partly to blame? Probably. Did President Biden misread his mandate? Many Democrats think he did. Was the public's sense that the country was on the wrong track a factor? Clearly. That said, on Friday, Mr. Biden followed up the Democratic drubbing.
Yeah, all right, we can stop there. So,
drubbing? I like that word, drubbing.
Drubbing is a good word. We should just make that a thing. Like, was the public sense that the country is on the wrong track a factor?
Yeah.
What is a track a factor? It's probably like a truck on a track, right?
A truck on a track. Yeah. A track a factor is one who tracks.
Track a facts. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Stop track a facting, Matt.
Yeah, I will definitely stop.
You always traffic facts.
Is that different from fact attracting?
I don't know.
Or trafficking in facts.
In facts.
Is that traffic? What is it? Track of factors? Track of facting.
On the wrong track of factor. Track of factor. Yeah, that tracks. Yeah.
All right. So after
Sponge is drubbing as we speak. That may be true.
Ooh, that's an unpleasant image.
Yeah.
Yeah. This dude is dribbling Spunt. Yeah. Oh, that's a bad image. Oh boy. All right. Well, let's see his Skeletor interview.
Something from our last poll, because it is driving, I think, a major divisive point in American politics. And it's this issue of, do you believe Joe Biden was elected legitimately? 93% of Americans, Democrats believe that, 71% of independents, but only 22% of Republicans believe Joe Biden was elected legitimately. Why is that?
Well, echo. This is not us. It's their echo.
I can tell you Joe Biden is the president. We went through the constitutional process he was elected. Now, I do believe there's a lot of buyer's remorse. A lot of people are scared to death. There's this ridiculous, this unbelievable inflation. Gas prices up 50%.
He looks like he's making
prices up, housing prices up.
But he doesn't really have the lips
withdrawal
to do
from
it.
Afghanistan, all these things.
I understand what you're saying, but why you're part of the 22% that believe he was legitimately elected. Why do 4 and 5 Republicans not believe that?
Well, I think you'd have to ask them, but I think Joe Biden is elected president. But what we've got to do right now is got to figure out how do we start helping these families, because I can tell you what, in D.C. that's not happening.
Senator, I think we both know the reason why that is, and let me put up something that the former president put out on October 21st, not like 6 months ago. This is like 3 weeks ago. And he said this: the insurrection took place on November 3rd, Election Day. January 6th was the protest. Is there any part of that statement that you agree with?
First, Chuck, Democrats are focused on Donald Trump. Americans are focused on the future. So you can go ask all these questions about why people think the way they do. I can tell you what, we're going to win in 22 because we're going to talk about issues. We're not going to talk about the last election.
But you don't think it's a mistake to denounce what the former president is saying as a lie. I mean, it's not
Wait,
healthy.
okay, do you notice that he
won.
says you don't think it's a mistake to denounce what the former president is saying is
yeah, he's confusing his double negatives.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Chuck's having a rough morning.
3 elections by less than 1%.
You don't think it's a mistake to not denounce?
Yeah, exactly.
You think it's a mistake to denounce?
Less of a raw vote than the state of Pennsylvania, where you voted to object.
His hair is amazing.
Every one of your Democratic opponents conceded.
I'd take it.
Why hasn't former President Trump conceded?
Someone has to do a thing of Matt with Rick Scott's
I think
hair.
you'd have to ask President Trump.
Rick Scott's or
first
Chuck
off, let's put it in
Todd's?
perspective.
Sorry, Chuck Todd's. Whoops.
My opponent in 18 did not concede until we went through 2 recounts, and they're illegally found ballots after election night. So let's don't act like these people just, oh gosh, you're right, somebody, you won. That's not exactly what happens out here. We have plenty of Democrats that don't. We have plenty. Chuck. Wait a second. We got plenty of Democrats that don't concede. Okay, that's what happened. So here's what happened. We have a duly elected president. Okay, if the Constitution was followed, I hope Democrats keep focused all their time on Donald Trump. Republicans are going to focus on the issues,
I know.
And we're going to win big in 22, and that's exactly what I plan on doing.
Okay, first of all, really quickly before we get to the substance, I want to turn. Can you just put his face back on? Sick rot. That's actually really good
because it is.
We don't need audio or anything. I just want we can just freeze on.
Is it skick rot or skick rot or sick ricotta?
Sick ricotta cheese. So I want to apologize, first of all. I called him Skeletor, and it is true, as someone noticed in the comments, the real Skeletor is Tom Perez. But there are 3 Skeletors.
Or James Carville.
I was going to just say we should do a vote. Who's the real Skeletor? James Carville.
You want to tweet that out?
Yeah. You want me? Yeah, I can do that. I'm just trying to get it. I want to also say that I want to coin a term.
I can do it.
Okay, you can do it. Yeah.
I'll do a poll.
I want to coin a term, which is called the reverse duck, which is what Rick Scott does. Because if the duck face is this, then
is what?
Well, you know the duck face here.
Hang on a sec. What?
See, that's duck face.
Right.
So what Rick Scott does is he does the reverse duck. He goes from instead of duck, it's.
Oh right, yeah.
It's inverted, but he purses. Yeah. He does the same thing. He does to the nose what happens in duck. With the inverted mouth. Okay.
James Carville, Tom Perez,
Rick Scott, or Skeletor. Who is the Skeletor? Who's the best Skeletor? Or who's the most Skeletor-like?
Wait, there's one more. Hang on a second.
Yeah. Folks, let us know. Matt should try a beanie. Oh my God. That would be really funny. Someone said Biden, but Biden is Nosferatu, right? I don't think Biden's really Skeletor.
No, oh God, what actress am I thinking of who's totally Skeletor-ish?
Linda Hunt?
No.
Sorry, Linda. She's really not Skeletor-ish. I don't know why she came in.
Maybe Franklin Langella. No, but I'm thinking of
actress or actor.
Yeah, no, there's an actress I'm thinking of. I'll just do those 3 for now.
Right. Folks, let us know. Maria Shriver.
Maria Shriver.
Says. Is that who you're thinking of? Not an actress.
No,
but
it's not who she works though. Hang on a second.
Yeah, she does work. Yeah. And sorry, Linda Hunt isn't Skeletor-ish at all. She has not at all.
Yeah,
more
Maria
like
Shriver.
A capuchin monk.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton. I know what they mean, but.
All right. So I just tweeted that out.
Right,
okay. Cool. So on the substance of this, all right, where do you start? Like, we just had, it's funny because one of the big topics of the discussion is, well, what the heck happened on Tuesday, right? Like, all the stuff we talked about last week. Why did they lose in Virginia? Why did they have a 13-point drop in New Jersey? Why did why did the defund initiative not win? Like what, all this stuff, right? And in Virginia, the obvious answer is McAuliffe spent his entire time trying to tie Youngkin to Trump. He talked about Trump constantly. People didn't want to talk about Trump. Right. They had other stuff in their minds. and that ended up being a crucial factor. Like, you got to have another message other than Trump is bad, right?
Yes. As in fact, Rick Scott shouldn't even be giving that away. He shouldn't even be telling people that.
Well, people have been saying this to Democrats since.
No, I know, but he's helping. He's helping the Dems. He's trying to tell them what to say. But yes, yeah, of course, you can't keep. I mean, they literally just lost the election in part because of that, right?
Right.
I mean, did you know this? I had Leslie Leon, who's a Virginian. And did we talk? Maybe we talked about this before, but the Democrats literally sent out literature that was like vote Youngkin.
Really?
It was like Trump vote. It was quoting Trump. Hold on one second. Youngkin vote Trump. I swear. It sounds like I'm making it up.
Well, I mean,
anyway,
that
it was
makes
a mailer.
Perfect sense, right? Like they wanted to highlight Trump's endorsement of Youngkin, right?
Yes.
Or
tricky mail from Democrats flaunts Trump's endorsement of Youngkin. Yeah, it was like physical. Here, let me show you this. I'll put it in the chat. Okay, Wilson. There. Okay.
So far, Carville is winning, running away.
Oh, really? Okay. What about Paris, though? Anyway, people may not know what Paris looks like, to be fair. Part of the thing is no one knows who he is. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, and this goes back to 2016 when they, 90% of their ads were negative ads about Trump, or ads about Trump's negatives, essentially, right? Like you gotta talk about issues, especially when there's, people are having a hard time and there's a lot of anger about a lot of different things that have nothing to do with Trump. Like Trump matters a lot to people who are in like the professional consultant class. He's a much bigger villain in those places than he is everywhere else.
Your average voter. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just not, yes, that will work in a group of people at a party in Georgetown. Like, oh my gosh, like I thought maybe he was a never Trump Republican, but no, he's, I don't know. It's, are you culturally appropriating your art?
Maybe by with the earrings, you mean?
Yeah, somebody's saying that.
Yeah, I don't know. These are a gift from a friend, but who happens to be First Nation. That's not actually true. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
But it would be great if it were.
Did you steal off the dead body of a First Nations person?
No, I stole off the dead body of a very European person, of a colonizer. Ripped him right off the ears.
A settler colonialist.
Of a settler colonizer, yeah.
Yeah.
They still had the blood of their ears when I put them on. So don't worry, guys. Wait, can we just show the mailer, though, that I was talking about?
Yep.
Wilson just had it up. It's kind of incredible. Okay. So this is a mailer. It says, Donald J. Trump, Glenn Youngkin has my complete and total endorsement. So you would get this mailer at home, and then it would say that. And then in not that bold type, it says at the bottom, it's hard to read.
Democratic Party of Virginia. Yeah.
That's kind of a metaphor for their entire campaign.
It's a metaphor for
for the party.
For the whole party is like they're experiencing a mass psychosis within the party leadership, and they don't even know it. And it's funny, it's come to encompass even people like Todd. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's this whole blob of people who don't realize how this sounds,
Out of touch.
Yeah, and then I am very much not a stop the steal person. I have never waded into any of these, they stole the election controversies. Even during the Iowa caucus, I went a little bit down that rabbit hole because there were people complaining about certain irregularities with, with that whole situation, right? But I never go anywhere near it. But I can't stand the media narrative that this is the first instance of somebody denying the legitimacy of a president.
Right.
Like, can we remind some folks about some things that we heard from the losing candidate in 2016? Wilson, can we see first the USA Today story from 2019? Remember, we had Chuck talking about how it wasn't just a few months ago; it was just this month.
Yeah.
This is 2019. Okay. You can have the election stolen from you, Hillary Clinton warns 2020 Democrats. And if you read down to the piece, it's like Hillary Clinton has been says she has been telling candidates seeking the 2020 Democratic nomination that even if they run a perfect campaign, the election could be stolen from them, implying that was what befell her in 2016. Blah blah blah. You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you, she said to Cheers. Okay, that's one example. Right. Let's look at the other one from the Washington Post, which I think is even worse. From who? Where?
Oh, from what's my favorite show? That you like, that I finally like now.
Oh, Ozark?
Yeah, there's the little girl, the little spunky blonde girl. Anyway, it's not important. Sorry.
She was in a movie I saw this weekend too. Let's see the one from the here we go.
Hillary Clinton, Trump is an illegitimate president.
Again, 2019. All right. September 2000. Hillary Clinton dismissed President Trump as a, quote, illegitimate president and suggested that, quote, he knows that he stole the 2016 presidential election in a CBS News interview to be aired Sunday. The former Secretary of State who lost the presidency to Trump offered a scathing assessment of the president, his 2016 win, and the latest allegations that he tried to obtain incriminating information, blah, blah, blah. All right, so, okay, it's not the same as Stop the Steal. It's nowhere near on this, well...
It's the big difference about it is that she wasn't moving to, like, repeal it. She wasn't moving to...
She wasn't, but how many different impeachment movements?
Yes, no, but I think that's a little different because, and I'm not, as you know, I'm not. I do think it is. I mean, I think it's.
They moved from predicate to predicate with that one. They were like, oh, well, he's crazy. The 25th Amendment,
and the walls were closing it. No, they did, but it just happened to not be on the actual number of votes that he got.
That is true. Although, again, and I did some of these stories early in the whole Russiagate thing, if you polled people in 2017 as to whether or not vote counts had been altered by the Russians, there were significantly high percentages of Democrats who thought that they were for a long time. Okay, and so it's not the same thing, but there was never a moment where the Democrats sort of came together and said, "Okay, he's our president. Let's." Just make the best of a bad situation. They never did that. They dug in and they basically said he's illegitimate for X, Y, and Z reasons for 4 years. Now, Trump is significantly crazier. And well, see, I can't even say that because Russiagate was so crazy. So
he's more, I would say he's a more well-rounded crazy. And which makes the Dems thing look more insane in some ways. Because they're rational in other ways, like they're disgusting but rational. I mean, the Republicans are disgusting too. Let me be clear. But it is an interesting comparison. They just happen to not be able. I feel like the Democratic narrative. I don't know. Yeah, one is like impeach him, and get him out that way.
Look, the Trumpian narrative is very much like let's by any means necessary overturn the result, right? And well, we can get into that at a later date. I think that the Democrats were focused more on processes that were superficially legal, but I think you get, when you start getting into, well, were those investigations legally started? Like, it gets a little fuzzy, but
everyone hit like, and also I'm just going to say, cut. I shouldn't respond to this troll because they didn't pay, but cut the crap, Katie. The CIA, FBI, and Joint Chiefs literally tried to bring down the president as illegitimate. Where did I? okay, you can respond to that, Matt. Actually,
yeah, I don't think Katie was saying what you
Yes.
think she was saying.
I wasn't denying any of that. I'm talking about the difference in their attempts to delegitimize the president. So you cut the crap, Steve. Then, all right, sorry. You're lucky I didn't block you, kick you out of the chat. All right, so condescending.
Yeah, I know. It's just I think the part of the problem with this is, like, I don't really care one way or the other about any of these. Oh, we actually won, politicians, because that happens in a lot of races. Like, people say, like,
Right.
I was cheated out of this or that. The problem here is that the media narrative that this is the first time this has ever happened, it just reinforces the paranoia of everybody involved, and makes this more likely to continue. Like, the way to get past all this is I hate to say this because I can't stand Rick Scott, is to do what Rick Scott is doing and just be like, no, like.
Yeah, right. I mean, to be fair, we can say the way to
Bernie
get past
did that.
this is to do what Bernie Sanders, Matt Taibbi, and Katie Halper have been saying, which is that you can't run on Trump sucks.
Right, and Bernie repeatedly declined to kind of go towards those political.
Right, and he got in trouble. Remember when he said not everyone who likes Trump is necessarily a bigot?
Right. Well, yeah, there's that. Like, he kind of played footsie with the Russia issue until it directly hit him.
We talked about that last night, actually, with Aaron Mate.
Really,
Aaron was saying that because the latest, he had a piece on his Substack, and everyone can see this at the Katie Halper show. It's okay. We always talk. Matt's Substack is amazing, so I don't feel too gross about talking about my show. But last night on the Katie Halper show, and the full interviews on patreon.com/the Katie Halper show, after you become Substack supporters here, though, he talks about the latest in the, I guess, what was the big indictment? And how it reveals these embarrassing Clinton connections. And then
it's amazing.
He thinks that, like, Bernie, that Bernie and Bernie's people propped it up instead of attacking it. Although he gets why he did that, like, strategically. I think Sanders would have been doomed if he had taken it on personally, because people are so dumb about Russia that they would have, as Tuck Todd says, I still can't believe he said this. He's like, aren't you going to get hammered and sickled? And people are so dumb that they don't understand that the Soviet Union, where Bernie, I love this, honeymooned, is not Russia today. So they would have just, mushed it all into a communist thing. Anyway, but it was, I don't know. He does have a lot of it. He does sometimes take things on that other people don't. So he could have. Yeah, you go.
Yeah, there's a couple of things there. Like, Bernie's like a lot of people. He likes to talk about things that are in his comfort zone. Right. So if you want to talk about, like, healthcare or Disney not paying its workers, or Amazon mistreating its workers, or whatever, he'll talk your ear off about that. It's like asking Bill Belichick, where's the best place for the punt returner to stand, like, in the
punt returner.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they care about that, so he's going to talk about that. Bernie clearly was never interested in the Russia story. Like, it never tweaked him in any way. And so all he saw there was a political loss in dealing with it. But I think it ended up hurting him pretty badly. The same way it ended up hurting Corbyn really badly. Okay, so are we normalizing Trump calling Republican legislators, asking them to send a different set of electors? What happens in 2024 if this happens? Yeah, no, that's not good. Nobody's saying that any of that is good.
I mean, Matt said explicitly a few times, it's not the same. And we watched last week a clip from the Georgia Secretary of State. That was the guy who got, what was his name? Spinterbuff and Asperger's Festers.
Yeah, right.
Burger.
I can't remember.
Yeah, anyway. Who was called by Trump like the least dynamic person ever. Is kind of amazing. Yeah.
Right. But anyway, just to complete that thought, like, I think it did end up hurting Bernie badly that he didn't take that stuff on, because they ended up using it against him.
Right.
And he might have taken a hit early in the primary process, but there would have been a way for him to position himself to take more advantage of it when they finally came after him.
Yeah.
By saying like, well, first of all, by saying like the Russia thing, at the very least, is a distraction from this is not what we should be talking about. Like he did say stuff like that, but not in strong enough terms.
Right.
So
just want to really quickly say that the argument that's really stupid is in the chat, which is Bernie couldn't have won. And we know that because Bernie couldn't beat Hillary. That's a stupid argument because when everyone knew that in many ways, the general would have been, what did David Sirota say? He didn't say Bernie would have definitely won, but that the heavier lift was the primary.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you remember, general election voters are not the same as primary voters. So,
right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, right.
You just can't say Bernie would not have won.
No, I think Bernie would have had an easier time in the general than he did in the primary because there are, for a variety of reasons, like he actually, there are things about him that appeal to, especially the independents, but also to like a kind of certain flavor of a Republican, that sees themselves as outsiders, or they would view Bernie as somebody trying to take on the system, which is what this is the way they see themselves,
right,
and is honest. And
there are a lot of people who would say like, look, I don't agree with everything he says, but he has integrity, but he's honest.
Right.
Too. Yeah. And also the hatred of Hillary. Don't forget that.
And then where he struggled, I think, in the primaries was with a lot of the kind of pieties of the modern Democratic Party. Like he just didn't know how to navigate that stuff as well as, as the other candidates did.
Yeah.
And, he's not a naturally mean person, so he doesn't know how to stomp the guts out of somebody who's coming for who's out to get him, and that's a problem too. Anyway, we're getting off track. So what else happened yesterday?
What else happened? Let's see. Where are we next? What's the next clip?
Oh, Stelter, I guess.
Stelter.
Or do you want to do Cedric Richmond, or do you want to do Stelter?
No, Stelter first.
Let's do Stelter.
Difference between a slogan and a story. Right now, it's in vogue to say the Democrats have a messaging problem. Maybe they do. They probably do. But that's for candidates and strategists to figure out.
36.
That's not the media's problem. The media suffers from a different dilemma: the slogan versus the story. Slogans are simple. They are seductive. Infrastructure Week is a slogan. It's a cheeky one. It became a punchline for years and years. But it's just a slogan. The story is about what all the infrastructure money, what all the funding will do. The story is about the rebuilding of these roads and bridges and of the expansion of broadband. Infrastructure Week is just a slogan. We need to know about the story.
Expansion of broadband.
There's a GOP slogan out there as well. The bill is a monstrosity. This is a slogan Republicans are using to attack Democrats. But the story is that the last Republican president promised to pass an infrastructure bill and failed, so now they need the Democrats to fail too. Stories are complex. Stories have historical context. Slogans erase all of that. Parents' rights is a slogan. It's this catch-all term. You've heard it constantly ever since the result of the election in Virginia. But which parents? Whose rights are we talking about? Here's another slogan. Critical race theory has become a slogan. An actual, interesting academic term has become a slogan. It has become a catch-all phrase used to demonize, to weaponize. And of course, the activists who tried to make critical race theory into a national story, into a national slogan, they knew what they were doing. They were trying to create a boogeyman, and it worked. Stories make you think. Slogans make you stop thinking. If I could teach a media literacy lesson in the wake of the elections this week, it would be about trying to tune out the slogans and get to the real story. The real stories are often complex, they're messy, they're complicated. That's what makes them interesting. Slogans, we could do with less of those.
Slogans, we could do with less of those.
I don't even know where to begin there. I mean,
me neither.
obviously.
But I have to disappear for a second because I can't find my window. So keep going. I'll be back in 20 seconds.
Okay. All right. Well, so maybe we can just show Wilson. Can we just show as an example of sloganeering? Like I put together a little mashup last week with Matt Arfalia, a friend of show. Could we see the Since the Civil War mashup, at least the beginning of it? And the point of this is,
sorry.
Oh, are we there?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just going to show the Since the Civil War thing, just like the beginning of that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Like, if we're going to talk about sloganeering, it's all they do on all these channels is they hit catchphrases constantly, and this is an example of one of them.
Are you showing something, or you just?
Yeah, I was hoping. Is Wilson there?
If Trump runs in 2024 and the Dems stick to their charismatic challenge candidates, Bernie might think to himself, "Oh, poo, I'll have to run again." Yeah, I'll manage the campaign. Burns.
The worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
Fucking hey, man. Glad to see you guys.
Good evening. 150 days since the worst single act of political violence since the Civil War.
January 6th was worse than 9/11.
Worst act of political violence since the Civil War.
The likes of which I don't think of it has existed since the Civil War.
I think we're in the most perilous point in time since the advent of the Civil War.
I do too.
The worst attack against America's democracy probably since the Civil War.
Unprecedented, at least since the Civil War.
The worst attack on our republic since the Civil War.
I like the way you threw in 9/11. You threw in a curveball.
Yeah, and then they go in and they recycle it again to say, like, this is the worst attack on voting rights.
It reminds me of how Russiagate was the worst attack on America since
Pearl Harbor. Yeah.
And it was actually the new Pearl Harbor, I believe.
It was the new Pearl Harbor, right? Yeah. And look, they do it on the other side too. Like there's, obviously on Fox News, I'm trying to think of what the analogous one would be right now. I mean, I guess critical race theory is a catchphrase that they use constantly over there.
When when it's not there.
Yeah. Often when it's not there. I also think that issue is misunderstood because like in the case of the Loudoun County, Virginia thing, I think a lot of times what we're dealing with is bureaucracies where there's a fight over resources,
right?
And you have campaigns to add more of a certain kind of bureaucrat that superficially revolve around CRT type politics,
right?
But really they're just about can we allocate more money over here and fewer to janitors or whatever it is. I don't know, but yeah, this whole thing where Stelter is like complaining that we don't do enough. The real story is usually messy, and it's people
shades of gray, not black or white.
Yeah, it's interesting how that only comes out after a bad electoral result.
That's interesting. Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Also, so as Lovemore points out, he said Democrats have a messaging problem, but it isn't media's problem. Then proceeds to get all in the minutia of the issue with their messaging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
But now we know if he was going to teach a media class, this would be part of his curriculum.
Yep. All right. The results are starting to come in on
our poll.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And by the way, to subscribe, you hit subscribe and then you hit the bell. We got to get our sub number up. It's a way to support the show for free. And like and share this video too. All right, let's see. Let's go.
Go on to subject,
Wilson, can we share the poll results? Do you want to see the poll results, or should we wait?
We can wait till the end.
All right, we'll wait till the end. Okay. Yeah, think Stelter is basically pointing to the chasm between story and slogan, which he did do. Oh, thank you, Lovemore. We love you more, which he did do last week too. So he's really pushing this. I predict he's going to write a book called like Beyond the Slogan.
Beyond the Slogan.
Yeah.
In the chasm between slogans.
Yeah, the chasm between slogan story.
The slogan chasm.
Yeah, the story of slogan.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. The polls in Twitter, we're going to get to it later, but let's go to Cedric, and remember some of the language that Brian just used. Yeah.
Strategist James Carville pointed this week to the loss of suburban voters in a state like Virginia, and he said, what went wrong is the stupid wokeness. He argued Democrats are being defined by the progressives. You're not defining your own message, particularly when it comes to issues like the economy. Aren't Republicans using that to their advantage?
Well, the Republicans will use anything to their advantage, whether it's true or not. They're the party of misinformation. We see it with vaccines. We see it with everything. And what they've been able to do is weaponize things and define it in their own way. The president has been very clear. His budget included $300 million more for community policing, because we know that every community wants to be safe, while he's talked about making sure that we have significant police reform. And so we're not defined by all of those things out there. But I think that the real issue is not exactly what James is saying. I think it's the fact that the Republicans will weaponize anything, fact or fiction.
Weaponize.
I'm not really sure. Did he say anything there, actually?
Well, I guess one interesting thing is that it is, I mean, it's worth saying that one of the things Skeletor said is the stupid wait, I can't do it. You're gonna never know it. Stupid wokeness. I lost my Carville accent. I used to be able to do it. You gotta
go just Louisiana.
I know. I'm trying to. I can't though. How would you?
It's all that stupid. No, that's not good.
Because they almost have a New York.
Oh yeah, that you had it there slightly.
Yeah. Oh, stupid woke. I can't say that word from him for some reason. Mary, what's Mary cooking in that? Wokeness. I don't say wokeness. Anyway, yeah. But I just think it's funny that, I mean, okay, maybe this is a weak point, but one of the buzzwords, one of the slogans is that, and I think it's true, but this weaponization, they're weaponizing the critical race theory stuff. And so we see Cedric saying that too. Brian and Cedric.
Right.
So they're sharing some slogans.
Right. Yes, they are.
A bit of a stretch. I guess I
like it. It's a good callback.
It's good, right? Yeah, it's a good callback. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, in the under the guise of denouncing slogans, you create a new one about weaponizing slogans.
Yes.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, this whole thing about weaponizing, like, yeah, they're weaponizing the fact that there's shit that's unpopular that we defend for no reason, you know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you keep going.
Just rather than say Terry McAuliffe shouldn't say parents have no say in, or you shouldn't have a say in, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What they should have done is roll up the metaphorical newspaper and you know, and said bad dog, you know, when like you can't say stuff like that and expect to do well,
right,
in the suburbs, right? It's just taking on parents. I just don't. It's a no-win situation politically. Right. I don't understand why you would do that, and especially in this context where we have this overall issue in American politics of kind of a larger population that has hostility towards educated elites, right? So now you're going to start to say that parents should just stay out of it and let the experts tell them what their kids should be taught. Like that's a big political loser. That you can just drive voters by the truckload over to Trump with a message like that.
It's true. So, yeah, it was so, and they really needed to. It was all running on. You know, I disagree with Carville a lot, and I think the wokeness thing is overplayed. I do think that running on this is Virginia for everyone just doesn't resonate with voters. Like, and Leslie Lee, who lives in Virginia, was saying on my show how, like, you know, saying that Youngkin was attacking Black women because he was going after the one African-American woman author, Toni Morrison. He's like, well, he was basically saying, like, we live in a country that doesn't treat Black women that well. So you're not going to shame people.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, given we live in a racist, sexist world, maybe people aren't going to be outraged. I mean, some people will be outraged, but we're getting a lot of love today. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and to Jamie Gillian, who's asking me to go to Virginia and research and cover Kendi-like practices. Like, I don't know if that's exactly what I'm doing, but I am going back down to Virginia tomorrow to go.
You got to meet up with. You should meet up with Leslie. Well, I'll talk to you afterwards.
Yeah.
And YB, who has some really his partner addressed parents school board meetings. Anyway, I'll connect you guys later. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Some people. Very interesting.
Yeah. No, it should be interesting. So, okay, all that happened. I mean, is there anything else we really need to go over? I don't think so.
No. Although this is, can we just look at look at those tweets that I
oh yeah, sure.
Put up there? It's just a funny. It's some Face the Nation stuff. What were you going to say we should look at? Because I don't know if
the poll results.
Oh yeah, the poll results. But just really, really quickly, this will take no time. If we can just look at the if we just so I guess Face the Nation, they must have done this. There was this article at Forbes, right? It's not about me. It's about trying to get to the heart of the matter. I think people are looking for that. I think people are looking for information they can trust. Margaret Brennan to Forbes on helming a Sunday morning ratings powerhouse. And then if we look at the next tweet from them, it's while political divides persist, Face the Nation continues to press the nation's top experts, political voices, and global leaders today. Here, our moderator, Margaret Brennan, reflects on the storied history of Face in 2019 as we mark 65 years. Can you scroll down a teeny bit? So first of all, I like the way they go by Face. They call itself Face. But that's not a very flattering photo of Margaret Brennan. Come on. Hello.
You know what that reminds me of? You ever seen the movie Man with Two Brains?
Yes, of course. Steve Martin.
Remember the scene where Carl Reiner sits like this the whole scene, and then at the end of it, Steve Martin's like, when are you getting your fingers surgically removed from your face again?
Yeah. He looks kind of like Mel Brooks also there. But and then the next one from Face, if we can just look at the next two tweets from Face. So they're taking advantage of this Forbes piece to like do a little bit like of memory lane scrolling. McCarthy hell-bent, and it's literally Joe McCarthy. McCarthy hell-bent on driving out communist subversion at home and abroad appeared on Face in an attempt to sway public opinion in his favor as he faced censure by a special session of the U.S. Senate. Watch his full appearance here. It's kind of a weird way to describe McCarthy, I gotta say, because it suggests that he was driving out communism as opposed to.
Wait, can we see that again?
Yeah. McCarthy hell-bent on driving out communist
subversion you're right.
at home, right? Like as if that's what he was doing, as opposed to totally. I mean, look, there were communists he went after, but the big thing about McCarthy is that he saw communism everywhere and he weaponized it. So it's a weird sanitized version of him because I think they don't know how to reconcile the fact that he was really bad and that they had him on. And then the next tweet about him, if we could see the next Face tweet.
That's pretty funny, yeah.
Who was Face the Nation's first guest on Inaugural Show in 1954? None other than Republican Senator Joseph McCarthy, a firebrand politician who is in the throes of his own political turmoil. Here's a look back at one of our more controversial guests. So, like, why
would you do that? I think that's a person. Whoever's running their Twitter account maybe needed to rethink some things. I'm pretty sure there's some other stuff on Face the Nation they could have looked at.
Seriously, I'll volunteer. Just become Substack members. Substack, paying Substack members to Useful Idiots, and I'll run your social media for a week, and I'll do a bunch of McCarthy stuff. I'll show you how to tweet about McCarthy or how to actually ignore him.
Our first guest was a notorious asshole who
firebrand. Matt, he was a firebrand.
He was a firebrand who controversially ruined the lives of innocent people with our help.
Yeah. Isn't that so insane?
That is really nuts. That is crazy.
We had bold thinker. We had, love him or hate him. The guy left an impression on people.
He did.
All
right.
Corporate bailouts, wealthy tax cuts, and IRS targeting of poor people. Such a fantastic use of my tax dollars. Thanks, Democrats. It's from DC. All right.
Yeah. A lot of anger out there. Okay, so right now we're looking at just so we can finish up on the Skeletor situation. The should I just put it in the
who's winning?
Hang on a sec. Oh, I mean it's unchanged. So,
but we didn't. Well, we never. Okay.
Oh,
well, we already have 2,000. Okay. Oh, there we go. Now we see it. So Rick. James Carville is coming in strong at a 51%. Rick Scott following at 20%. I'm rounding.
I think that the race for number 2 is interesting.
It's almost a dead heat. So we got at 51.5% of the vote goes to James Carville, 20.2 goes to Rick Scott, 19.8 goes to Maria Shriver, and 8.5 goes to Tom Perez, which just convinces me that Tom Perez's face is not something that Americans are familiar with.
Yeah, he's been pretty static at 8.5 since like the first minute of this. So
really?
I'm going to predict that Shriver ends up overtaking Scott by the end of the poll.
Ah, interesting. Has she been going up?
No, it's been toggling back and forth, but we can always influence the vote.
Oh, we could, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we can. I'll tell people to vote. Yeah. I'll tell people to vote for Scott.
Oh, I'm not gonna tell people to vote for someone else because I don't want to pit us against each other.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's just see what happens, and we'll announce the results of that when we do Useful Idiots later this week.
Yeah.
All right. So that was a Useful Idiots Monday morning edition. We're going to cut out a tiny bit early today, which is one of the reasons why the show is at 9 instead of 10. It's not as many thought. Guess that we just screwed up daylight savings time. That is not the reason.
About that. That's actually interesting.
Yeah,
would that have been in the right direction or would that have been the wrong direction?
I'm not even sure. Actually, my math is that bad.
Daylight savings really breaks my brain.
Yeah.
We got to get the likes higher. Apparently, when you get like 80% likes or something, it helps the algorithm.
Really? All right, everybody, smash that like button.
Yeah, smash that like button. Yeah.
And we will see you again later this week.
Yes. Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care.
Bye.